Hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's Rise and Thrive with EHE Health, an interactive series where we discuss all things health together. My name is Natasha, and I'm the event coordinator with EHE Health, and today we are joined by certified life and relationship coach, Odette Coronel, to discuss the benefits of spring cleaning your habits. Thanks, Odette, for joining us today. Can you tell those watching a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, good morning, Natasha. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm happy to be here. My name is Odette Coronel, like you said, and I am a life and relationship coach. I work primarily with women that are either married in a relationship and they love their partner, they are committed to their marriage, but through the years they've kind of lost that connection and that spark. So I help them reignite that spark and find that connection again. And I also work with single women that are very successful in their careers, very high achieving, but they have not been able to be successful in their relationships. So I help them with that as well. And one thing that we didn't mention is I am also a certified health coach. And I actually started my coaching as a health coach. And it kind of morphed into the life and relationship coaching part of it. I loved the fact that, as I coached people in my health coaching, I realized that everything else in life is connected to your health and affects your health.
Definitely.
Including your relationships. So as time went on, I really kept attracting clients in that field that were interested in help, with their relationships. So that's how I became a life and relationship coach.
That's great. Thanks so much for sharing a little bit more about yourself. I guess one of the things I want to start off with as a life coach, you mentioned some things that you help clients with. What are some common issues or topics that your clients come to you with? Is there like a common between all of those, whether it's married or single?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So clients usually reach out to me when they're kind of feeling a little bit lost. They're feeling unfulfilled. They're feeling like, they've lost their sense of purpose or their meaning. They've kind of lost their way, feel a little bit like they've lost their sense of identity. And usually it's either when they're not happy in their relationship, or if, like I said before, they are successful in some aspects of their life, but they're just looking for that life partner and that companion, and they have not been able to find that. So that's what they come to me for. And as I work with them, what I've learned through my time as a coach is that it all boils down to the relationship with yourself. That's where it all stems from. So that's really essentially what I work on with my clients. It's that relationship with yourself, because really, in order to have a healthy or a happy relationship with anyone else, it all starts with you.
Yes.
We have to learn that, we have to learn to self-acceptance. We have to learn, first of all, that we're worthy. A lot of times, as women, we're so used to kind of, traditionally speaking, we're in service mode all the time. We're caregivers. Even if we are successful in our careers, that's just our nature a lot of times, right? But then we kind of lose ourselves in these roles.
Mm-hmm.
So working on your own self-awareness, your own self-acceptance, self-love, it really helps you when you are in a relationship be able to then receive that love.
Right.
Because if you don't love yourself, you don't accept yourself, you can't even recognize it when someone does love or care about you, right? We have to really work on loving and caring for ourselves first.
Yeah, you mentioned loving and caring for ourselves before we can start to I don't want to say genuinely, but until we can really connect with someone else and really go and have that deep relationship. So other than loving yourself, what advice do you give to people that feel like they're, lost and need motivation to move towards loving themselves? What practices do you suggest?
Right. So it as far as for loving yourself, it all comes back to feeling that sense of self-worth. And I just want to start off by reminding everyone that there's nothing that you need to do to be worthy. Mm-hmm. Okay. You are worthy and you are lovable, right? Because you exist. because you're here, right? Because God, or, the energy, the universe or whatever created you, right? So that's starting off with that. And then the second thing is have some self-compassion. Even when we're feeling that we're not doing enough, or we're feeling a lack of motivation, we should want to kind of come out of that. Sometimes we're like in a rut, right? We do want to move forward and come out of it, but we want to do it without beating ourselves up, without the self-judgment, with a little bit of self-compassion as we do that, and as we find our way through that. And, one of the best things to do to kind of start getting motivated, so to speak, is to first figure out why. Like, why should I do this? Why is it important? Why does it matter? Right? What would the impact be if I do whatever it is that you want to be doing, whatever habit you want to be implementing, or whatever lifestyle you want to have? Why does it matter? What is the impact, the overall impact that will have on your life? And then also think, if I don't change and I don't do anything, what's the impact of that?
Yeah.
What will happen in a year, or 5 years, or 10 years from now if I do nothing? Right. So that's a good starting point, I think, to help us kind of get out of that rut. And also, speak to either a coach, a life coach. Like, if you look at anyone, either in fitness, in corporate world, there are coaches, executive coaches, actors have coaches. Like, if you you should definitely, I think everyone should have a coach. I have a life coach myself too. So, don't be afraid to seek out help as well. And, even talk to a friend. There are things that you can kind of reach out to people, right, that are there, willing and able to help you. There are resources out there, so use them.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that. That's such a different perspective about what I've heard before, as far as like, take a look, like, if I don't get motivated, where am I going to be? Rather than, I feel like everybody, well, not everyone, but a lot of people look at it from the other perspective, like, I need to get motivated because, and it's like working towards a goal, but looking at it from that different perspective, like, if I don't get motivated, what will my life look like? I know sometimes when you're stuck in a rut, you just get, you're think negatively. And so just to think about how much more negative you could be in a headspace. So that's just a great way to think about it. Like, I don't want to be more negative, or I don't want to be more upset, or I would like to start a relationship. So, I need to make the changes to accomplish my goal.
Right, exactly. So both aspects are important, right? That's where that self-awareness is, right? You do have to know why it matters and why it's important to do it, but you also have to know the reality of the consequences of not doing anything. What if nothing changes? And then I just want to add too, that it's important also to just develop the habit of having discipline, because the fact is, we will lose motivation. Right? Motivation is in the beginning and then we lose it. And the only way to stay consistent is to kind of develop the habit through discipline.
Yeah, definitely. What are some good ways that you suggest to clients to stay motivated and to stay in discipline?
Well, I think that the number one thing to do is to start small. We can sit there and, think of all the different things that we want to do. And that is one thing that I recommend to my clients, to kind of make a life audit. Springtime, it's spring, right? It's a perfect time to kind of like refresh, renew, start over, right? Spring clean. Well, let's spring clean, your life. Make a life audit, all the different areas of your life. Because, we want to implement habits, but the fact is, we have habits that we do, right? We are creatures of habit. So we may not like the habits that we have and we may want to change them, but we do have habits. So kind of taking a life audit to see, what are the habits that I currently have? What is my morning routine? What's my bedtime routine? What are my eating habits? What are the different aspects of my life, my relationship, my health, my fitness, my career, my home life? Like, what are the daily habits that I have? What does my day look like? Just kind of taking an audit is the first step. And then thinking about, okay, what would make it better? What one change can I make in these different areas that would make it better? And think about that. And then prioritize and start small. If we try to jump across a bridge, we're not going to make it, right? You're going to drown or you're going to get hurt really bad. It's not going to be fun. But if you take, one step at a time, eventually we'll get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying that says you can eat an entire elephant one bite at a time. And that's the key. If you look at the whole thing, it's very overwhelming and you kind of psych yourself out. You're like, oh my God, I'm never going to accomplish this. So I can't even get started. But if you just kind of break it down and you're like, I'm going to do this today, and you just focus on what's in front of you today, eventually you'll get to wherever it is that you want to go. And as far as implementing habits, habits are automatic behaviors. And the reason that we have them is so that it makes life easier for us, right? We don't have to make, we have so many decisions that we have to make constantly in life that there's certain things that we don't need to take up the mental space, right? Deciding, like we brush our teeth every morning. We don't need to sit there and decide, should I brush my teeth? No, we've made the habit and we just do it. And if we don't do it, like if you've ever by mistake left your house, without brushing your teeth,
right,
really uncomfortable. That's like, it's not, it's not fun. So we make these habits, by kind of anchoring them or attaching them to another habit that we already have, something else that we already do. So that's called a cue, right? Like, oh, when I do this, I'm automatically going to do that.
Right.
So like I get out of bed, I'm automatically going to go to the bathroom and, brush my teeth, or I'm going to put my sneakers on the side of my bed so that I get up, I put my sneakers on and I know this means I'm going to go for a walk in the morning. Little things like that to kind of get you started, and you just focus, start small and then you add to it and you add to it. So, making one habit, it becomes kind of like a domino effect. And it feels good because you have like that sense of accomplishment.
Definitely.
So then it kind of becomes contagious.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned like spring cleaning your habits, because I have friends, family who, they go through their wardrobes. It's getting warmer. So they take out their winter clothes and put them away for spring and summer. And it's sometimes gets overlooked about what we do with just like, our mental, emotional, physical health as too. Like, what habits can we do now that it's getting warmer? I know something I love doing when it's nice out is going for a walk. I don't think I've gone for a walk yet, and it's been warm out here. So I'm like, yeah. So your comment about like leaving your shoes by your bed, or, maybe I should start laying out my gym clothes. I used to do that, but now it's like it got cold during the winter and I don't do that anymore because I'm like, I'm not going outside for a run this morning because it's only 20 degrees and it's snowing.
Right.
So I love that. That's such a great way to people can, it's like something so simple that you can do to keep yourself motivated. And like you said, keep that discipline going. And then it does become a habit. Every day you're like, what am I doing? Oh, my morning routine, I need to do this. Oh, my nighttime routine, I need to set my clothes out to go to the gym or go for a walk.
Yeah, it's really, it's these little tiny simple things like that really make a big difference. And you mentioned like the bedtime routine. The key to a good morning routine is a good bedtime routine. Like what you do the night before is going to impact how your morning goes, whether you're going to be stressed out or it's going to go smoothly. You mentioned, putting your clothes out the night before, getting a good night's rest, whatever you do the night before can make your morning a lot easier and less stressful. So we want to make it simple. We want to set ourselves up to succeed by kind of doing all the little things that are going to support us, that are going to support that new habit that we're trying to implement. And then I wanted to add that it's important to, think of all the physical things, habits that we want to create. But one thing we really have to take a look at is all of our mental habits. Because we also have automatic ways of thinking. automatic ways of thinking that lead us to automatically feel a certain way,
Mhm.
and then automatically makes us behave a certain way or act a certain way or not act a certain way. So we have to kind of really take a look at that. Like, what are the mental habits that you have? What are your automatic ways of thinking?
Mhm.
And the more that we can get into a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset, then we could look at things and feel better. And we can make decisions from a good place rather than from a reactive place, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Absolutely. And for someone who may be looking to like, maybe they notice like, hey, like when people say certain things, I've been getting more negative about it. What are some like mental tips that you would give somebody who wants to, start fresh with spring and, maybe change their mentality around something or just want it to be more positive, maybe in the workplace or at home? What are some tips or guidance that people can start working in that direction to have better mental habits?
Yeah. Well, that's so crucial. And the very first thing that I have ever all of my clients do is start a gratitude journal.
Mhm.
Daily gratitude journal is something so simple, but that habit has a huge impact. So depending on what they're coaching on, like I'll have, either 3 things you're grateful for daily,
Mhm.
or 3 things that you're proud of yourself for, 3 things that you appreciate about your spouse, if it's something, relationship wise, in addition to that, right? And then 3 things that you're grateful for about yourself, that you appreciate about yourself, and then 3 things that you're appreciate about your life in general. It could be anything, but just starting that daily gratitude practice helps you start in a more grateful, more positive outlook, more positive perspective. And then the next thing is, awareness, being aware of what are my triggers.
Mhm.
When is it that I automatically think this way or feel this way? Or
Mhm.
if you're feeling bad, it's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's not terrible to feel sad or to feel depressed or to feel anxious. They're normal human feelings, right? The problem comes in when we stay stuck there. We don't
Mhm.
want to stay there. When we're feeling negative, when we're feeling badly, it's information. It's like, okay, why am I feeling badly? What's going on? And then you think, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts about this that are making me feel bad?
Right.
Because a lot of times situations are neutral, right? What we make it mean is what then makes us feel badly. So just being aware of what our thoughts are is the first step. Just being aware of, oh my God, I have these negative thoughts and they're making me feel not so good. And
Mhm.
then once we have them, the next step is to stop them, literally stop them. And I work with my clients a lot on creating a mindfulness habit as well. It's just being more present, being
Mhm.
more present. You don't have to sit and meditate for an hour every day, but just work on creating a habit of being present. If you're drinking, a cup of coffee, focus on the temperature of your cup, what it
Mhm.
smells like, what it feels like. Use your senses, your 5 senses, literally the sensations of your body to bring you into the present moment. And that gets you out of your head and kind of into your body.
Right.
And then that calms us. That helps us to be calm. And if we're in that calm state, then we could look at the circumstance that happened that made us feel upset, and we can kind of try to look at it differently, think different thoughts about it, if that makes
Right.
sense. And that will kind of help us get out of that automatic negative reaction or those negative feelings.
I love all three of those things that you mentioned. I used to just journal like daily, and
Yeah.
it was a lot during the pandemic more. Like now that things are starting slowly to get back to normal, I haven't done it as often, but I have thought about it recently. And just writing 3 things that I'm grateful for every day was like, it just made me kind of open my eyes and realize like, everybody's going through hard times with the pandemic. And it was just so helpful to like, I felt, like it's going to be okay. It was kind of reassuring in a sense. So even if it was just, small things, like I'm grateful that I was able to take a warm shower today. Or if it could be bigger, I was thankful, grateful all of my friends came to my birthday party or whatever it is, just like just thinking about all those little things that sometimes we take for granted. And then once we really start to think about the things that we're grateful for and things that are going well in our lives, it really, for me personally, changed kind of my perspective and just I felt a lot happier, definitely.
Absolutely. It's a very powerful exercise, a very powerful habit to get into because again, you form that habit of you train your brain to kind of automatically find the positive, find the good things, find the things to be grateful for. If we try, even if we're having, a bunch of things go wrong in the day, there's something that went right. Let's focus on that. Conversely, like you can have a million things go right. You can get a raise, let's just say your job, or something great happen, and then you're driving home and you get a flat tire, right? And then you come home, you're like, oh my God, I had a horrible day. No, just one bad thing happened. It doesn't mean your whole day was bad.
Yes.
Ruined. So the more we're in the habit of kind of like, yes, the bad things exist, the bad things are there, they're true, right? We don't want to like hide our, you pretend that bad things aren't going to happen, or pretend that we're feeling badly. It's okay to have, those bad emotions, but let's try to focus more on the positive things because they're also there and they're also true. But we kind of give more importance and more meaning to the negative things.
Right.
And I want to tie it back, because I am a relationship coach, to relationships as well. We tend to fall into that rut of focusing only on the flaws that our partners have, or in families in general, really, right? We forget all the good or all the positive, and we're just focused and we hang on to that mistake that they made or that negative thing. So it's not that you should address the negative things, right? You should kind of deal with that, but it doesn't have to define the whole relationship.
Yes.
So again, it's these little shifts, these little habits that can really make a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. And you've shared so much great advice. So do you think everyone should be seeing a life coach?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
I know you're biased, but
I'm a little biased, but I have a life coach myself, and I really feel that eventually it's going to be more and more mainstream where like everyone will have a life coach. It's something so important we have information, right? If you want to learn how to do something or you want to learn something new, you just have to Google it, first of all. And not that all the information is going to be completely accurate, but you can read it in a book, you can Google it, you can watch YouTube videos, you can take a class, right? We have resources, we have information, right? We could read a book, and sometimes you read a book and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is great. It's changed my life. But then what happens? You really don't implement it, right? Or you do for a little bit, but it's not lasting change. And the fact is that, we can achieve a lot of goals and we can be successful, but it's not necessarily going to bring us happipiness. Right. It's not going to necessarily bring us peace. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. Right? That's what we want, to the successful career and the relationship and even the vacations, whatever it is that we want, because we want to feel happy. We want to feel good. We want to feel relaxed. We want to feel peace. We want to feel proud of ourselves, all these things. But if you don't have the mindset when you achieve these things, it's not necessarily going to bring you that happiness. It's not going to bring you that peace. It's not something that's lasting.
Exactly.
So in order to create that, to make it more meaningful, all those things that you want to accomplish, right? You have to learn these things that, gratitude, and you have to learn how to be happy now, how to be happy with yourself now. We think, oh, I'm going to be happy when this happens.
Yes.
We're always living in the future. Like that's when I'm going to be happy. And then we get there and then we're on to the next thing. Like we're never like fully present.
Right.
Appreciating we've just accomplished, right? We don't spend enough time there. We're on to the next thing. So I think that working with a coach is instrumental in helping us create that mindset and be able to really find the peace, the happiness, the joy, the internal joy that we are searching for out there, to find it so that then as we accomplish all our goals, and the coach can help us stay accountable, the coach can help you stay motivated, the coach will kind of be your thinking partner in all of this, right? But it'll help you, he or she will help you kind of appreciate it more and make it more meaningful and actually enjoy it and not be off to the next thing.
Yes, definitely. That's great advice for everybody watching. So if you have the ability to get a life coach, Odette would definitely suggest doing it. All of the benefits, just feeling more well-rounded overall. So thank you, Odette, so much for joining us today and sharing your advice and knowledge about maintaining healthy habits. Is there anything else you would like to add before we sign off?
I really enjoyed talking with you here, Natasha. I enjoyed sharing all of this information today. And I want to offer anyone listening or watching a free session with me. They just need to go on my website, and you can go ahead and book a free discovery session with me. And I'd be happy to meet with you and give you a taste of what life coaching is all about.
Great. And do you also want to share your Instagram handle with those viewing?
Yes. So the hub that has everything, my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, all of that is odettecoronel.com.
Great.
That's my website. And then my Instagram handle is Odette Coronel Coaching.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram for additional content. And keep up your healthy habits this spring.